Joe Mazzulla is with us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Joe, how are you? Nice to catch up.
Fellas, what's up?
What's going on, Joe?
It's been
How was you guys' week off last week?
Oh, it was nice. I see you taking a shot at me and Hardy. We work hard, man. We got to hang out with the family. Take a couple of days before Thanksgiving.
I don't think you called in last week, so it sounds like you took a week off as well from the show.
Oh, there you go.
I called in Tuesday. I tried to get you guys on the phone Tuesday, but you guys were busy.
Actually, we weren't busy. We were doing nothing. Just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing.
No, he's talking about this past Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought we
It
had
was
a
gonna be
date.
Wednesday
I thought
and
our
Thursday.
day is Wednesday. That's what we thought. We thought Wednesday's the
I
day.
know.
All right.
Hey, Zoe, I saw Ted Johnson the other night.
Oh, did you go to you went to the Zavarian game, right?
I did, yeah.
How'd they play?
Good. They ended up winning. It was a really good high school football game.
That's good. Where'd you see Teddy?
He was there.
If you were sizing up Ted Johnson as an opponent of some kind, you know what I'm talking about, like in a life or death situation, where do you think his weakness is? How would you?
His ankles.
Yeah.
Ankles?
Yeah, ankles.
Are you just gonna throw yourself on the ground and start chewing him? What do you do?
Cut him. Cut the back
I
of him.
mean, you got to get to the ankles. Looks like he's a little top heavy. Obviously, very strong on the upper body. So you got to go for. You got to go for the weak link.
Okay, I like
Hit him low to get him knocked down.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're not going to choke him out. I mean, he's got a massive shoulders and traps. Like you're not.
Damage the Achilles somehow. All right.
You can't even wrap him
Yeah.
up around the shoulders. You got no shot.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just got to just chip away at the ankles, the Achilles.
Chip away.
Hey, Joe, I really loved your intensity when Billy Donovan was coming over to meet you, and you sort of had the look in your eye like something was going to happen, but it didn't really happen. And you guys talked. He talked after, but pretty odd situation there for a second, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think just everything being new. I mean, the NBA's never had a situation of where point differential mattered, and just one of those cases where kind of back to like the challenge versus Toronto, like what's best for your team and what's best in the heat of the moment, the heat of battle versus how it affects other people. And so I appreciate, the ability that we were able to communicate, and he was very understanding of it. But I think just the point differential and the in-season tournament is just bringing upon new perspectives and new situations that people aren't used to being in.
I love that you and your team just went for it in that game against the Bulls to be able to win the group and to move on in this tournament. I love the in-season tournament as a fan. I think it's great. I'm interested in it. I've been in it from the beginning. Are you coming around, or are players coming around as this progresses to this idea and what it's all about? Are they liking it any more now than maybe when it was announced?
I mean, I think they will once they, we obviously have an important game tonight. But being in that environment on Monday, just seeing something that's new, something that's fresh, something in the middle of the NBA season that kind of gives you a different perspective, I think they will. Not 100% sure on it. But like I said, I've always enjoyed watching in-season tournaments in European soccer and basketball for that matter. And so as a fan, I enjoy it. As a coach, you have to fight for the emotion and the focus of your team, because at the end of, like I said at the beginning of the year, like even though we have an in-season tournament, we're still playing the same amount of regular season games. And, so we have to be able to keep the same level of emotional balance, focus, intensity for every single game. So it's kind of twofold there. But, after that game against Chicago, it really opened up my eyes to, what's going on in the league and the trend the last 5 years or so about blowing leads, and like the ability to try and, when you're up 20, can you get it? Can you create a different identity to get it to 30? We were up a certain amount and we had to sustain it. So we had to play a certain level of basketball, even though the game, quote unquote, was over. And so I think that kind of opened up a different perspective and opportunity that maybe we could pull from throughout the rest of the year.
You told a great story about your dad in Chile, and I'd love for you to share it again with our audience. But also I wanted to know if the story you told, if that strategy of his team paid off.
Yeah, so someone ended up tweeting the link to the game. It's actually on YouTube. And so he would always tell me the story. I never knew if it was true. And I think I watched it like 10, 12 years ago or something like that. But, they had been, this model has been playing in European sports for a long time. So it was like back in 1982, they had to win by 6 and they were up 2 at the end of the game, and the only way for them to keep the game going was to score on their own basket. So they scored on their own basket to force it into overtime, and then ended up winning by 7 to advance. What's even funnier is if you watch the clip, when the guy goes in to score on his own basket, he misses the layup first. He's got to get his own rebound and then put it back in on his own basket.
Wait, who is he fighting with for the rebound?
Nobody. There's no one there because they didn't realize he was doing it.
Got it. Oh, my God.
That's great. But, Joe, you bring up a good point about the way not just the Celtics, but every team in the NBA is able to close out games, because one of the benchmarks of the NBA is every team makes a run. You're going to have a team make a run on you in the third quarter, the fourth quarter. And it's not like that's written in stone somewhere. And you, as the team with the lead, are at least 50% in control of whether or not that happens. For fans, I suppose it makes it interesting when games get close. But, if you're going to have a big lead and you want to win the game, why does the other team have to make a run? And whether that means playing the starters a few more minutes than you normally would, or just having a different identity down the stretch, I think that this in-season tournament might be helpful in maybe working to eliminate that notion that, well, every team's in it up until the last minute or so. That doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One, I think there is some variables outside of your control as to why teams make runs. Because the game is so fast, there's so many possessions, there's so many three-point shots, and there's just so much opportunity for it. But for us as a team, we talked very little about the in-season tournament process. We talked more about the mindset of trying to win every game. But when we got to the middle of that third quarter, and it was between 25 and 30, we had a conversation at a timeout about we have to tap into a different level here because we got to sustain this. And so that was where, for me, it was like, hey, is this something we can pull from throughout the year to, like you said, develop a different identity when you have the lead to try and prevent some of that. So I think it's a little bit of both, but that was the kind of one of the lessons that I took from that game.
Joe, are the players starting to get excited about this now? I know at the beginning, the court was an issue and there was some sliding going around. But with the teams that are left in the brackets, some really good teams, really good players, it's the superstars. You potentially have a trip to go to Vegas and play Milwaukee out there next Thursday. Are the players excited about this?
I don't know. I haven't really talked to them about it because, yesterday we had a practice day and we focused on us and we focused on Philly and just kind of getting ready for our next opponent. So, and that's the balance, right? As a fan, it's really exciting, but as a coach and a player, you have to constantly battle the distraction of the emotion and the quote unquote excitement. And we have a really tough game tonight against one of the best teams in the league. And so how do we go from the last 2 days being talked about that and then bouncing back to Philly's the most important thing. The next game, the next day is the most important.
How's Porzingis feeling?
He's getting better. He's on the court yesterday for a light workout, and just kind of seeing how he progresses from being on the court, how he handles it over the next day or so. But he's definitely getting better.
And he's out tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel like you've seen Philly too damn much at this point? You're 5 weeks into the season. You got to play these guys again already.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as I was watching some of their stuff today. I think we played them. Yeah, this will be the third time that we played them thus far, and we've played them 7 times, 11 times, 12 times last year. So we obviously know each other really well, and this is one of those games where so much about a team. Can you find something small that you might need in the future or down the line, and how do you balance? The stuff that we know we do really well against them. How do we take away their strengths, and then can you find 1 or 2 small things that you may be able to have for down the line. So it's a good opportunity for that.
Who answered your phone when I called you yesterday when you were at practice?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. You called me?
I called you. Yeah. You don't have your phone at practice. I'm sure it's not on you, but somebody answered. It's like Joe's at practice.
I didn't know that. Nobody told me.
All right.
Yeah, someone picked up
your
your phone.
Names. They weren't happy I called. I think.
Someone picked up your phone, man.
Yeah. I won't do that again. Sorry, Joe.
Did you call back a second time, Zoe?
No.
Oh.
I was calling my wife after.
Oh.
Do people have permission to answer your phone for you? Because I'd be upset that somebody answered my phone.
Well, if it's buzzing.
There's about 2 or 3 people that have my phone password and kind of have free reign to do what they need to do.
Oh.
That's a lot of trust.
Yeah, I'd say 2 people.
Okay. All right.
And
Well,
one of those
it was-
people
It was,
picked
one,
up.
it was one of those two people, so.
Okay. So where was the big dinner last night, Joe? Where'd you eat?
So I didn't go out to eat last night.
Wow.
They're home tonight.
No.
I know that, but he
Yeah, we're
goes
home.
around local.
All right.
Thought maybe hit our spot over
Yeah,
there.
not as much.
All right.
There's a lot of good spots out there in Newton.
No.
Well, I wanted to talk to you closer to Thanksgiving because we did have Thanksgiving leftover questions, and I don't know if you're a leftovers guy. And I was having this own debate in my head. I'm like, Joe is either going to be all in on leftovers or no, he never touches them, like out of principle. So
I'm not a big fan of leftovers.
Okay, all right. See, yeah, I'm glad we
Yeah.
didn't waste any time talking about it earlier in the conversation. Even
I
Thanksgiving
try
leftovers.
to eat so much that there are no leftovers. So then I get mad that like there was leftovers, so I end up like not eating them. It's like you should eat it all right there.
Yeah, you failed if you didn't eat everything
Yeah.
that was put in front of you. All right, understood.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Very good. Well, Joe, great to talk to you. Glad we could catch up today.
All right, we'll see you guys.
See you, Joe.
See you, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe Mazzulla, Celtics head coach.
Two people answer.
No
All right,
leftovers.
You got to pick two people who are allowed to answer your phone and have full access to it. Who would they be?
I have to pick a second.
You have to pick two.
I-
He said there. Joe has two people who have full access to his phone.
Brody and my sister.
Not your wife.
Not your wife.
Beetle.
Yeah, I'd pick my wife and then probably my oldest son. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I could trust him. Will could take care of business.
I'm going T-Bone and Milliken.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What if you had to pick one at
I
work?
would say
Because-
Beetle and Hardy.
I think someone obviously answered that was in a work setting, assistant type of thing the other day when Zoe called.
Tom's very busy, Hardy.
Well, I would think that Joe meant two work people have access to his phone.
Okay, so let's do work thing.
Yeah, so just keep it about work.
Keep it work.
Just keep it in work. Two people at work have full access to your phone.
Tyler.
And
Jim.
Yeah, I
Louth.
picked Lout's not going to be snooping.
Yeah,
Louth.
Louth would take it very seriously.
see, I would say,
But he is corporate.
I
What
would
if he
say-
sees something that offends corporate that he's got to report?
I think I'd take Milliken and Louth.
Milliken and Louth, yeah.
Well, I'm not moving off of Milliken and T-Bone. I would like to say Beetle, but he's too. The kindest way to put this would be curious. You're just too curious. It's an attribute.
Yeah.
It's a sign of great intellect. Your curiosity. But you're going to start poking around in places that don't.
That's why I
concern
wouldn't
you.
allow you to do it either.
Oh, I'm not that curious.
Yes, you
I
are.
didn't even know I had that app on my
Yes, you
phone.
are.
I'd give it to Milliken and Moscatel, but Moscatel's never here, so I got to pick somebody else.